My best friend accidentally ruined my life, so I purposely ruined hers. My best friend attempted to take her life and I don't care. She deserves it. I haven't and won't even reach out. We've best friends since kindergarten. She was my sister. We stood by each other through everything. When my parents divorced, she was there to offer a shoulder for me to cry on. When her grandmother died, I was there keeping her afloat throughout high school. Naturally, she was the first person I introduced my boyfriend to. She didn't like him at first though. I didn't know why. And when I asked, she just ummed and awed before changing topic. I thought it was because he was a gamer guy and a little awkward, so she thought I could do better. But he was really sweet to me, and he treated me to date nights and always made me feel special. Maybe this was just me being young and dumb, but I thought I'd marry the guy someday. This was something I told my best friend, but one time I did, she just made this guilty and almost butchy face at me. Fast forward 3 years and me and him are still together. I was at his place when I saw a text notification on his phone while he was showering. He never cared much about phone privacy, so I grabbed his phone to look at them. Well, it was from my best friend, asking if they were still on for tonight and if she should wear his favorite dress. My heart stopped. He told me he was hanging out with friends and going drinking tonight. In hindsight, I always wonder how much of him going out with friends was actually going out with her. I saved screenshots of their conversations and of course sent them to myself. When he left the bathroom, I couldn't hide the tears streaming down my cheeks. An argument ensued where I told him he was disgusting. He tried to gaslight me, telling me it was my fault for not looking after my looks, and if I didn't stick my nose in his business, I wouldn't be crying right now. I left his place when he told me that. I was heartbroken, and shortly after arriving home, I started getting bombarded with calls and texts from my best friend. To this day, I have no idea what she wanted, because I answered none of them. However, I did look at her texts, and everything she said can basically be boiled down to, she never meant to hurt me. He hit on her first, it was an accident, it didn't mean anything, and I still owed her $10 for Chipotle. I remember not answering a single text, and after perhaps 15 or 20 messages, she became angry. She began spamming me, calling me dumb, immature, and naive, saying this wasn't how friends treat each other, and telling me I was being selfish for throwing away our friendship. She eventually stopped after a total of 78 calls and 132 messages. My boyfriend was strangely quiet during this time though. He didn't reach out once. It took me a few days, but I finally got my shot together. Well, not really, but enough to send them both messages. I texted my now ex-boyfriend that we were done and I wouldn't give him a second chance. He responded by trying to call me, but after just one attempt, he gave up. He sent me a final message saying it wasn't that big of a deal because he couldn't help his testosterone being higher than the average male, and finally ended up agreeing that we shouldn't date anymore. My ex-best friend was more persistent after I told her I wanted nothing to do with her. Day after day, I get messages and calls from her, demanding to talk, demanding I don't say anything to anyone and expose her perfect reputation. I remember in one of the messages she screeched that she will take her own life if I don't talk to her. She said she is going to write a note blaming me, saying her death was my fault, and that everyone will hate me for the rest of my life. It's really fucked up. And I know to you guys it might seem obvious that she was crazy and I had every right to be mad, but when you're actually in a situation this heartbreaking, it's almost impossible to see clearly. So I ended up confiding in a mutual friend to see if I was being a bee, but turns out, this friend didn't care about me either, because not only did she give me one-word replies the entire time, but she also ended up spreading the word about what happened. The gossip spread like wildfire, and obviously my ex-best friend quickly found out I told someone. I knew because one day I heard she posted a photo of herself crying on her Snapchat story. Honestly, I figured it was just for attention. Little did I know, the truth was much darker than I thought. I remember I was about to go shower when I got the news. She tried to take her own life. She took her dad's shotgun and aimed it at her head. Fortunately, it wasn't loaded and she couldn't figure out how to load it. So instead, she tried to OD. It was heartbreaking. My face went ghost white. I couldn't even catch my breath. I just sat there hugging a pillow and rocking back and forth. But the thing is, I didn't visit her in the hospital. I didn't send any messages to her family. And so, her older sister began messaging me, telling me I'm a heartless bee for leaving her at her lowest. I didn't respond to her either. So she took a different approach. She messaged my mom. And that was a can of worms I did not want to open. My mom was a notorious cheater in her own day. And I just knew that she would try to go to whatever lengths needed to justify what my best friend did and get me to forgive her. I can't finish the rest of the story in this short video. It is on my channel and linked below.